Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome back. Not sure if I'm talking to myself, so just want to do a sound check. How's everyone doing tonight? Is everyone keeping safe? All right, 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to figure this out. Is everyone keeping... Whoa, that is a big lag. All right, let's get started. So every time I upload a video or do a live, and then I love reading comments, right? So I get a lot of feedback on the volume in general, and then also the volume of my voice. So I want to make sure that I'm not making any weird noises or weird sounds, or that you can guys hear my pizza digesting. All right, good. And if you hear weird noises, that's my neighbors upstairs. And for some reason, they always find the evening time to be the most attractive for their physical activities. All right, I'm looking for the rest of my presentation. I don't even remember where we left off. All right, let me just adjust it. Okay. So this is battery. Where did we leave off? I mean, I know where in general we left off, but what do you guys want to hear more about? If there's anything that I skipped over because I was trying to get done in under 600 hours. So hi, Mary. Hi, everyone. So good to see you guys. I'm glad you guys made it. We were going to Survey. Okay. Yes. So I was saying not yesterday, the day before. All right. Let's just go back to the beginning of the night. Okay. Yes, so I wanted to talk more about the router and all that stuff. And I was thinking of doing a whole show on just Vivint and all that data, but I don't really know. We'll see. We'll see if it warrants a whole thing of its own. Welcome. I'm just taking my time right now, just waiting for people to jump on. So many familiar names. Hi. Hi. All right. So seriously, now let's get started. I know that a lot of people don't necessarily like my little Excel sheet, but oh well. I simply find it helpful because I like to organize things in a chronological way for myself. Just it makes it easier for me. I'm a visual person and I need to see the sequence of events and where everything falls into place. So that's how my mind functions, and that's how I learn and process information most effectively. So I think I'm just gonna pull it up. That sounds dirty, but just because we have to, just so that I can like move around freely. And I'm not an expert in Excel by any means, so please don't judge if there's something that I don't know, that if there's a function that you see that could have been performed much easier, but it's not. So, all right. So I'm sharing it with you now, and you'll see a lot of stuff in here, a lot of notes that I took for myself, and a lot of abbreviations. I can't really see chat now. Oh, unless I put it up on my phone, but I don't know if I'm going to be effective in watching both, but I'll try. All right. Great. Of course, my phone decides to go off now. Yes. Yes, Megan. Hi, Megan. So good to see you. And yes, I will refrain from saying that word. All right. Let me stop looking at chat. I'm getting distracted. So, okay, here we go. So this is the 13th. Let's go back. All right. So here's the 111-minute phone call. And again, as I've said the other night, and as we've been talking about, we don't know what they talk about on this phone call because Empeñada has memory issues, and and she doesn't know, she remembers every single detail, including condom manufacturing dates. However, she cannot recall what she talked to her boyfriend about for 111 minutes, the night that he decided to kill his entire family, allegedly. But let's say that they were having phone sex, like Chris suggested. That's a long ass session to be having over the phone, especially if you're living close by. And I know that Chris has kids and they were sleeping at the time, but let's be real. We know that Empeñada has no morals or very little. And I make fun of her, but again, I just want to make sure that people understand that I'm not saying that she was involved. I'm just saying that there are a lot of questions that warrant further investigating, let's just say. So things just don't add up, period. So I'm not accusing her innocent until proven guilty and all that stuff. And I also want to make it clear that even though I'm not the biggest fan of Empeñada, I do try to always stay objective. So if I'm making fun of her, I'm doing that for fun. So I am trying to stay as objective as possible. And it's really, you don't have to be a genius and you don't have to be a rocket scientist either to see the red flags. So there's no freaking way. All right. Okay, so let me explain the router stuff. So the router stuff, it comes in when you download the physical file, okay? And you can obviously download the router log, comes in like a Word document, and it's just a list basically of just stuff like this. And I try to match up the times and all of that. I've been coming back to this router log for the longest, and it was taking me forever to figure out the timeline, especially with the time being off by 2 hours. So first I tried to do it in my head to just, I think it's add, subtract 2 hours. I don't know, one of those. But I think I was trying to do it in my head and then I would get confused. So finally that was one of the reasons why I chose Excel, is because it was easy to just like kind of copy and paste everything into it, but also to separate like by IP address and stuff like that. So if it repeats, it's easier to find it, I guess. So once I got that down, and once I got the timeline down of this stuff that's going on with that whole log, then I started looking at the screenshots that came with it. Let me see if I can pull it up now, since we're already here. Yes, I'm about to use the lighter. Okay. Shifting to a different window. Okay, so this is a screenshot that came with it. And here it lists all the wired devices, meaning that what it says, obviously, it's self-explanatory. So it's wired, it's connected via Ethernet or however you pronounce it. And then you have the wireless devices here. There's 5 of them, and there's 10 of these, okay? Some of them are, sorry if I'm getting like loud. If I start yelling, that's excitement, but some of them are already identified for us. So this one is the DirecTV. This one is, it says admin user. So it's literally this computer right here. So this computer is wired to the internet. And then Cisco. Those are the 3 of the wired ones that we've identified. And all the wireless devices down here, we have the Apple TV, we have this HP product, which we've been kind of assuming that it's something printer related, like a wireless printer or something like that. And then you have one unknown, which is, let's see, what did I label that as? I'm pretty sure that's Chris's phone. And the reason why I think it's his phone, let me see here, I'm looking. Because of the times that it's used. Wait, actually, see, that's not his phone. That's a Vivint alarm or something Vivint, a wireless Vivint. So probably like the doorbell camera, right? So that's where the IP addresses are. Then going back to the log, so you see, like, I've isolated all of them based on their every single entry based on the IP address for all of them. And these are just the devices. So here's how I figured out like the process of elimination. Basically, you find, excuse me, once you find out the MAC address and the manufacturer, and you can figure out what it is based on the timing. However, there are a few that I am not sure about, and that's this Technicolor, and there was another one. Yeah, well, it's these 2 Technicolor things. So it's basically a device or something that's made by this company. And when I look at the activity, where is it now? Here, for example, Technicolor and Technicolor. And you'll notice that it goes off every 12 hours. And that was brought to my attention too by, I can't remember who, but someone brought it to my attention that it must be automated, because when you put it together like this, you see a lot of them are in 12-hour intervals. So that leads me to believe that it's something that is automated. It's something that resets itself every 12 hours. And these are wired devices. So it could be anything, literally. It could be anything. It could be part of the security system. Who knows? That's why I don't know exactly what they are. But then the other devices, like the wireless devices, you see they show up at different times, and so it's not automated. So you can, like Chris's phone, you like it doesn't happen. There's no rhythm to it. So you can assume that it's not something automatically generated. Megan, what was your question? Sorry. The lag is really bad, so I'm trying to keep up. So anyway, so that's how I figured that out. Then you have a bunch of these DOS attacks. So of course, then I did research on that, and basically, I don't know how to describe it. I understand the mechanism of it, but I'm not sure how to explain it. But this is what I'm getting from it. So these DOS attacks, it stands for denial of service. And that happens, well, it can happen if someone tries to hack you. And so a denial of service means basically something is trying to connect to your network or whatever it's trying to connect to, and your network is denying that connection. So that can be a hacker, for example. However, it's also something very routine and very normal that happens with Wi-Fi in general. And let's say, for example, you open a website, and once you open that website, you get flooded with all the advertisements. And so if you think about that, so even though you're opening one website, all those different advertisements and all those different buttons that you can click and shiny objects, all of those things have their own thing. Like if you click it, it'll take you somewhere else. So you can think of those DOS attacks like that. So rather than when you try to go to a website, rather than it opening everything all at once, the website, the advertisements, the comment box, everything, it only opens your website, but the other ones are in the background. It's probably, don't quote me on that. I'm not a computer engineer or scientist person, but that's just kind of like in plain language, basically, that I processed this for myself. Okay, so then next to the DOS attack, it tells you like from source, and it tells you the IP address. So it tells you where it's coming from, what port it's using, and obviously the date time. And so I have no idea what these ports are, but I looked up if there's a significance, and apparently there's different ports here, like port numbers in computer networking represent communication endpoints. So there's a different number of ports that are used for different things. So for example, the most popular one is this port 80. And port 80 is basically, as I understand it, is like the most common port that is used on the internet. So then obviously on Chris's router log, that's the one that came up the most. And you see the IP address consistently stays the same as well. So when I looked up that IP address, I would get wherever that server is located or whatever. So this one is like some China network or whatever. And yeah, I'm not going to try to explain it in detail because I don't know the specifics of it, but that's typically, or that's basically how I understand it. So in other words, these ones don't give us much information. And again, with the, typically you'll see these after any sort of activity. So for example, anytime that Chris would get a text message or something would show up on his phone, you would get like one of these following it. So I don't know, it could be whatever. Then you have these different port numbers that are weird. And what I've also noticed is when you see port 2020 and port 2020 and then this 8002, it tells you, like, you can look up whatever they stand for or what they're typically used for. So when you see like port 443 here, it talks about it's used for websites which use secure something something. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know. So a lot of governments use this port 443, a lot of financial institutions. So it's something to do with like a secure server where it's difficult to, I guess, hack into or whatever. But so yeah, so these port numbers like the 8002 and 443 and 2020, I believe are all related to the security system. So whether security system is related to Chris's Wi-Fi, if that makes sense. So for example, anytime anyone approaches the door and puts in the code to the door or tries to open the door or does open the door, so on and so forth, this one goes off, port 2020. And I've compared that to the body camera footage that we have for those times. Well, obviously not all times are on there, but for the times that we do have footage, this is what goes on. Anyways, so back to this. So here we see that during the 111-minute phone call, something's going on with his thing. So we've determined that this printer thing is automatic. So it doesn't, he's not printing anything. He's not doing anything with that. It's an automated thing and it happens every night at 10:47. And so is this, the 10:52 one. However, when I was looking at these port numbers, so here at 11:04 and at 11:15, we have these DOS attacks. And the port numbers are used for secure logins, and the other one is a unassigned private or whatever. And so I don't know to what depths I looked into the internet, but you know how you have all those forums or whatever? And I found this comment, and it's from 4 years ago. I came across your post while looking up same thing on my network. Not sure if you figured it out yet, but it's a Vivint alarm system panel. I have one in my home that needs to be connected to Wi-Fi for the wireless cameras, doorbell, etc. Sugar Electronics makes the chips they use. Thanks. So, I don't know if you were listening. It doesn't sound like it. You guys are having your own little thing going on. But that's what's happening right now. There's some sort of door / camera security alarm panel BS going on at 9:53. Wait, not 9:53. Scratch that. The 10:35. That's port 22. 11:04, port 22 again. And I just told you guys that port 22 always goes off when the door or something, the door, the code in the door is entered and stuff like that. And then at 11:15, it's another unassigned private port that also is related to the Vivint. And then at 11:19, the call ends. And then you have Chris's phone. I'm not sure why it's on there twice. But Chris's phone connects back to his Wi-Fi. And you already knew that, right? So from 11:04, well, not 11:04, but 11 p.m. to midnight is when his phone tracked all of that activity, if you remember from the other night, all the steps and everything like that. So that's question number one. What the hell were you doing between 11 o'clock and 11:20? What was he doing? We know Empeñada was doing her laundry, right? She thinks. I don't know. I keep coming back to this. Right. So Amazon goes off at 12:47. And now this is an Amazon product, so I don't know what it is. I know Amazon makes the Echo, right? And then Amazon makes the Fire Stick as well. So I'm trying. Does anyone else know? I mean, help a sister out. What else does Amazon make that connects to your wireless? I'm pretty sure, because I know they have an Echo, and we know that he has a Fire Stick. So it could be either one of those things. But the important point here is that, yeah, Echo, Alexa, yeah, whatever they're called. The important point here is that at 12:47, what was happening? Oh yeah, Megan, she did say that. Oh God, that woman gets to me. She said that about the smelly sheets. I'm just repeating. Sorry, I'm looking for something. I need my notepad. Yeah, so either Alexa or the Fire Stick. And then we have the 102, the port 80, which, like I said before, is the most common one, like the internet port. And then his phone comes back at 1:11 a.m. Hold on, this is too big for me. Whoa. Sorry, guys. Where are we? This is what I mean by I'm not a technical genius. So we're here. His phone reconnects again at 1:11. That's an odd number, right? 1:11. But yeah. And Shanann and Nicole land around 1:30, and they make their way home. And then Chris's phone goes off, and then these are the automatic ones. And then Shanann's phone connects to the internet. So he is busy. He is busy this night. Right? The 111-minute phone call. Then we have the 1:11 login and all of these ones, but no one's remembering anything. And then according to Vivint, in the discovery, they say that there's no movement in the house on the main floor, it said. There's no movement on the main floor until 4:23. So there's no movement on the main floor, but what about the basement? Right? Because remind me, guys, they had Vivint, they only had the motion sensors in the living room and sensors in the not bathroom, in the basement, right? No, Carolee, it doesn't show what time the phone gets turned off or anything like that. So, okay. So this stuff, that's pretty much it for that part of it. So I'm going to go back to this. So now that I'm hoping you guys have like a better idea of what that stuff means, we can keep going with this. So here are the steps. How do I make it bigger? Oh my God, I can't see my entire screen. We'll have to do with this, but all right. So we looked at this, but this is the one that's interesting. So item 41, that's his personal phone. And this is, let's see, where is it? This is what I was talking about right here, this spike. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then it goes dead midnight on. Thank you, Carol Lee. Thank you so much. I appreciate the sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we went through all of this, but yes, and then the other point that I really, really wanted to drive home was that he did not call the resort in Aspen in order to book whatever vacation. Yeah. So the DJ Rourke, DA Rourke, made it a point to talk about the doll picture, right, as proof for premeditation. He also mentions that Chris was calling resorts because he was planning to take his new girlfriend hiking and, you know, just on a vacation trip. When I think what Chris was actually doing is he was calling the resort to cancel the trip that Shanann had booked already. And if you remember, she sent links to not only Chris for Groupon, but also to Nicole Atkinson and her other friends. And she was kind of like shopping around and looking around for different resorts and stuff like that. And then I can't remember in which text message it was in, but she essentially said, the trip is booked. We're going next weekend. So what I'm saying then is, since Chris that morning was really focused on calling the girls' school, letting them know that he's unenrolling them. He's calling Ann Meadows to sell the house. So he's getting rid of everything. Like, this is panic mode. He's getting rid of everything. He's calling the school, and, you know, that's suspicious AF, but obviously in his panicked mind, he thought that would be a good idea. So when Chris called the Westin Snowmass Resort and talked for 2 minutes, I think he was calling to cancel what Shanann had already scheduled. So because she bought it through Groupon, they probably told him that he has to call Groupon for a refund, which 3 minutes later he did. He was Googling Groupon's contact information. So there goes that. All right. So here's the Groupon Google information. And then at 11:11, another one, Nicole Atkinson arrives in Longmont. I spelled that wrong. And she's looking at a house for a friend of hers who is moving to Colorado. So Nicole Atkinson is helping her shop for the house. For a house, I should say. And then at 11:46, according to Nicole Atkinson's GPS, she leaves Tulip Street and goes to Shanann's house, basically. And this is when she has already texted her, has already tried calling her, and nothing's happening. So she arrives at 12:17, according to Vivint. And the reason why it's coming up on Vivint is because Nicole's son was trying to open the garage. So it sent an alert. It actually activated the alarm. So immediately after, Chris called Nicole and was asking her, what are you doing? And then at that same time, you see this Amazon thing goes off, and then it gets a DOS attack. Remember, I told you every time there's an activity, a DOS attack follows. So Amazon makes does Amazon make the Ring doorbell camera or anything like that? But for whatever reason, when Nicole Atkinson was at Chris's door at the same exact freaking time, something triggered his Wi-Fi. And Nicole Atkinson's GPS says that they arrived at 12:20. So give or take like 2 minutes. But the reason why I think it marked it as 12:20, even though they've been there for 3 minutes already, is because Life 360 is an app on your phone. And it doesn't really, I don't think, is like accurate, as precise, for example, as Chris's truck GPS is, because that's directly linked with the car electronics or whatever. But this is an actual app, so it doesn't monitor when Nicole's car is turned on or turned off. It's basically an app in her phone. So I'm assuming that if you're in the same vicinity for longer than a certain period of time, the app is going to register that as, okay, I'm here and we're not moving as fast anymore, so that must mean we arrived somewhere. So that's why I think there's like a couple of minutes of discrepancy. So then Chris texts Josh and he tells her, I just talked to Nikki. And so Nicole said that Chris told her that Shanann was on a play date. And then here he's telling Josh that she's at a friend's house. And then at 12:27, they had a 3-minute call again. And Chris told them to leave the house alone. And they were, Oh, yeah. So Chris, see, this is what I mean when I say I have my own little notes on here. So sometimes it's difficult to really decipher this stuff sometimes. But basically, Chris told Nicole Atkinson and her son to leave the house alone. And this is also when Nicole said that she was on her way to the doctor's office. So then in her interview, the red writing. Oh, does it caffeine cue? Okay, so Ring works with Alexa. And Alexa is an Amazon product, right? But anyway, so this is in Nicole's interview. She says that she called Chris and he didn't answer the first call. And then he called back and said alarm company called him. So I'm not sure. The missed call doesn't show up. Well, we don't have Chris's records anyway, so. Chris is texting back and forth with the realtor, and then Nicole Atkinson says that she talked to Cassie as she was leaving the doctor's office at 12:40. But see, this is inconsistent because Nicole, according to her app, she stays until 12:47. And this is where it gets tricky with that alarm that went off, right? So she gets there at 12:20 and she stays until 12:47. Chris is out in the field. All right, so here, 12:47, she leaves and goes to the doctor's office. And at the same time, about 10 minutes later, Chris leaves Survey 10:19 or 10:29. I'm just making shit up as I go. Right, Dave. There was an alarm. There was a sensor going off with the garage door at 12:41, but Nicole Atkinson was still there. See? Oh, crap. See, because at exactly 12:41, she also called, or he called her, I should say, because that sensor probably triggered Chris's phone to go off again, right? And see, he called her that same minute and said, "Stop messing with the door." And this is in Nicole Atkinson's interview. So she goes into her phone and she reads off the times to the officer. So she says, "I called him once and he didn't answer the first time. He called back and said that the alarm company called." So the first call is when he told them there was a play date. So then this call, she says, he's calling her back and told her he was on the phone with the alarm company, so he couldn't answer the phone. And then she keeps going in her interview and she says, and then the third time he called me, he told me to stop messing with the door, stop messing with the house. And 12:41 is when the garage door sensor went off. So it's possible and likely that that's what happened. So at 12:47 is when she finally leaves, and at 1:01 is when Chris leaves work. 1:13, Nicole Atkinson comes back from the doctor. And at 1:40 or 1:39, 1:40, somewhere around here, she called the cops. So I think here at 1:39, Nicole called Chris for a minute and probably told him, "Look, dude, I'm calling the cops." And then at 1:40 is when the well-being check was called in. So then the two Technicolor ones are the automated ones and the DOS attacks that go with it. And then you have other activity, but again, this is when the officer now has arrived. What's his name? Nicole Atkinson's son is going around and like banging on the doors and windows, and they're trying to do all kinds of different things with the doors and everything like that. So all these different router logs are gonna go off. And then again, I compared it to the body cam footage. And let me tell you, so 2:07, his GPS says that he arrived home. At 2:07, Shanann's watch connects to the internet. At 2:08, Chris's phone connects to the internet. At 2:09, the door opens literally. At 2:10, there's text messages. 2:13, they found the phone and Chris is turning it on. So he's pushing the power button, okay? And the phone goes on, like the screen. The text messages are starting to get through to Shanann's phone. And at exactly 2:14, Chris puts in the code, or once they put in the code or whatever into the phone, her phone then connects to Wi-Fi. And you see they do it like twice. So I want to know why Shanann's phone, or not phone, I want to know why Shanann's watch connected to their Wi-Fi at exactly the same time as Chris's phone and his turned on basically, and he came home at exactly the same time. So his phone is on him. His phone is on his person. We see him holding it in his hand when he walks up to Officer Coonrod. And that same exact time is when he connects to his own Wi-Fi, to his own home network. And at 2:09, so however long he took inside the house, the door opens when he opens it for the officers. We went through this. All right. So then lighter. I feel like I have to warn people. Yeah, I feel like Paula, I agree. Like I feel like that's where the watch was. And Shanann was not wearing her watch. I think that she actually forgot her watch at home. So I don't know why he would take it with him. Because the watch couldn't be found, or wasn't found, I should say, until like 2 days later. And apparently 2 days later when they found it, it was in the same place where the phone was. which is under the cushions. And when Nick checked them the first time and he found the phone, I'm trying to put myself in Nick's position. This woman is missing. She's attached to her phone 24/7. Her 2 kids are missing. You're already suspicious of Chris. And you find the phone under the couch cushions. And that's it? You stop there? Hell no, I'd be tearing that couch apart. Yes, I'm smoking again. This case is totally turned me into a chain smoker. Yes, sirens are here. Yes, Stephanie, there's a text where she says that she forgot her balance and her swimsuit. Yes, red like wine. I do smoke like a chimney. Yeah, Sam, they smell my smoke, or yeah, my cigarette. I always blame it on cultural stuff. Everybody smokes where I'm from. Okay. Right, Stephanie. Yeah, I was looking at the doorbell, but she's holding her phone in her left hand and you can't really see, but here, for example, here she's wearing her watch on her, I think we determined it was her, what was the hand? Caffeine, Mama Bear? Help. Was it the left hand? Yeah. So she wears her watch on the left hand when she has her watch. So here she's wearing it, here she's wearing it, here she's wearing it. These pictures here are all from Arizona. And you can see that this one is taken the same day, although it's not the same as this one. It's the same shirt, but different days. This is in July, and this is in Arizona. And you can see here that she does not have it on. I honestly don't even see her wedding ring, but I don't know. Here she's not wearing it. We can't tell here because she has a long sleeve. But this is a video from the Thrive thing, and she's not wearing it here either. So that leads me to believe that she did not have her watch, because otherwise she always has it on. And then this is again, this is the thing again, where maybe you guys have better vision than me, but okay. So that's the watch story. All right. So let's get to the empanada now. Missy told us in the interview that she came home and her friend Jim was there, right? And she said that she came home around, let's say it was 3:45. That's what she said. So here she's pinging in Brighton, and it's 3:32. And I don't have the map up here now, but if you look at the map and you look at where Brighton is and where she lives, we'll give her that. It does match. And then so at 3:42, conveniently, the detectives, Nicole Atkinson, or Detective Baumhover, Nicole Atkinson, and Officer Coonrod leave Chris's house. And at 3:45 is when she said that they talked, right? That he sent her a message and said, call me, it's important. At 3:45, she said that he sent her the message, and that she was like, oh, I was kind of concerned that he sounded like he was blah, blah, blah. But then she also said that she didn't call him until later that night because she was entertaining her guests, or whatever the hell she called Jim. So now remember, she said Chris was there. So then at 5, because Officer Coonrod and Baumhover, they all left. But then if you remember, there are other officers who arrived who then did the search of the house. And Chris was kind of like standing outside, pacing. So at 5, she called him twice. He didn't answer. Then he called her back at 5:30. She didn't answer. Here they are. He left her a message, even. Or actually, I'm lying. She left him a message. So 5:01, she leaves him a message. 5:02, he calls her back, and they talk for 1 minute, but we don't see that here. We only see 2 unanswered calls, but yeah. And then at 5:28 is when the rest of the officers left. Okay, and then I don't get this either. 9:48, they talk for 50 minutes while Jeremy Lindstrom was there and that Dave guy. So they came and they left, and he was still on the phone with her. Daniel, Megan J, is that who you're talking about? Quote unquote Daniel? I'm looking at chat. That's why I'm quiet. Yeah, and then in their interviews, Dave, the guy that worked in the county jail, he said that Chris was like cleaning, that he was like shampooing the carpet again or something, or vacuuming or something like that. Oops, I don't know what that was. So how is he on the phone with her, vacuuming and shampooing the carpets? And he has 2 of his friends over. Hours after the police were searching the house for evidence, he's sitting there cleaning the house with company there while his wife is missing. Like, do men not watch Snapped or, I don't know, Oxygen Network or something? Like, your wife is missing and you're cleaning the house, deep cleaning. Right. So the call ends and Chris reparks the truck. So at 11:15 at night, he's moving his truck around. So he could have taken stuff out of it. He could have put stuff in it. He could have done all kinds of things because at this point, he wasn't being monitored, right? It wasn't until the next day. It wasn't until the next day that they started the surveillance on him. So 11:15, he's moving the truck. And then at 10:52 and 10:57, Vivint goes off, and then there's a port 7777 whatever that goes off. And of course, Empeñada calls back, and this is when she says, okay, so this is when she says that that Chris was doing the laundry because the sheets smelled. Sorry if this is making your head hurt. But yeah, so okay. The night of the 13th at 11:09, they talk, and she's telling investigators that Chris is washing the children's sheet because they smell. And I don't know, I thought it was like weird because they seem like pretty clean people, and it just was like I don't know. It was like red like wine. That's what NK said that he told her. According to her, lying ass, she said that he told her that he's washing the sheets because they smelled. And this is also when she apparently tells him, not apparently, she does, it's in her interview, that he was asking about the wedding ring and that she told him, just fucking pawn it, man. Because, she's his financial advisor, and that could be his little rainy day fund, whatever. So check this out. So at 11:10, he's on the phone with her for 52 minutes. Right. And that call ends. Where are we now? Oh, this is later on at night. Sorry. Yeah, I was thinking when they were talking. So again, okay. So that call ends at midnight. And immediately after she hangs up, she's Googling Shanann. And then 5 minutes later, Chris calls her back. They talk for half an hour. Hang up. She calls him. They talk for 3 minutes. Then he calls her again at 10 to 2. And at 2 o'clock, the police, well, first of all, the police, the officer and Chris are playing phone tag that we can see on the video because the officer called Chris multiple times and he didn't answer because he was on the phone with Nicole. It's as simple as that. And then at 2 o'clock, finally, Chris calls them, but you see he calls them from his work phone. And that's when he describes the girls to him and all of that stuff. And then immediately after he gets off the phone with the cops, he calls her again. And they hang up and she calls him right back. And they talk for 11 minutes. Oh, this is why I need this. This is why I need it to be put out and laid out like this. Because you see, we see the video, we see the body cam footage and all of that. We see each piece of information individually. So, but when you put it all together and you see that from, let's see, from 5 p.m. basically, well, actually here, from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m., they're talking on the phone. And the calls are multiple shorter calls. It almost looks frantic, if you ask me. Right, Seth? All the while, she spent nearly 4 hours Googling the Watts news accounts and news outlets. Isn't that insanity? And then this is from the handwritten notes where Dave Husky, I believe his name is, he's the operations manager, I think, at Anadarko. And he said that on this day, on Tuesday the 14th, that she clocked in at noon, but she called off on Wednesday. So this is the interview. I don't know if you guys even want to watch it again, but I think it's the most important thing. Like, I'm not sure. Hold on. I don't know why. I got to fix something. Let me know how you can hear this, like if it's good or if it's not good sound. I'll just wait for you to ask a question, but like I want them wherever they're at. Like I have no inclination of where they're at right now. Okay. He has no inclination. Neither do I, Chris. Right now. Like
I've exhausted like every friend that I know of, and every friend that I have has called friends that Shanann has that maybe I didn't know about.
Can you guys hear him? I'm sure you can.
Know about, and it's just like it's vanished. Like she's not, like when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like,
sorry, I'm analyzing.
she wasn't here. Kids weren't here. I have no idea like where they went, and it's just earth shattering. I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from.
Chris, when did you learn that they weren't here?
I guess, well, I texted her a few times, called her, I didn't get a response, which that was a little off. And then her friend Nicole showed up about a little afternoon. I could see it on the doorbell camera. And I was like, hey, what's going on? She's like, I can't get a hold of Shanann. And that's when I was just like, all right, something's not right. If she's not answering the door, and she said the car was here, it's like, I got to go home. And we got here, got inside, and nobody was here. Nothing.
And so I read that Shanann hadn't taken girls to school, which was unusual.
Yeah, because like...
So rather than focusing on his face right now, let's do an experiment. For the rest of this video, even though we've watched it a gazillion times, but for the rest of the video, I just want you to focus on his chest and his breathing. And let me know what your observations are afterwards. So just pay attention to like his neck area right here and his chest and his breathing, basically. Let's watch.
Bella was going to start kindergarten next Monday, and they were just getting ready to start back again.
And so your friend Nicole kind of tipped you off at something.
Yeah, because like she was here at the front door, and that's when I kind of knew, okay, like if she's not answering anybody else either, this isn't like her. Because I mean, she works at direct sales business, and that's what she does. And for her not to respond to any of her people, that, I mean, if she doesn't respond to me, that's fine. I mean, like, she's busy, she's got stuff going on, but no.
Anything strike you yet?
But not to respond to her people, though, that was not like her.
Chris, you've got a beautiful family, and it looks like you all love each other very much. What went through your mind?
Pay attention to this area.
Like I was trying to get home as fast as I can. I was blowing through stoplights. I was blowing through everything, just trying to get home as fast as I can, because none of this made sense. Like, if she wasn't here, like, where did she go? Like, once I got here, it was like, all right.
First of all, if she wasn't here, like, where did she go?
Who can I call? Who do I know that she could be with right now? If she went to a friend's house, where could she be staying? And we went through everybody. I mean, just everything in my contact list and her friend's contact list. And
okay, so right, Jolie, he's like panting. He's basically gasping for air. His heart is racing. He can't even finish his sentences completely without going out of breath. I don't know, Megan. I don't think so. Like, if you're that psychopathic to the point that you are able to annihilate your entire family, I would think that a couple of news cameras wouldn't get you short of basically a panic attack. Because you can tell by the way he sounds. He also sounds like almost kind of like he has cotton mouth, which is another indication indicator, I should say, of like nervousness, which again, he is on the news, and he is like on a scale from 1 to 10 of introverts, I would put him at like a 4-ish, according to Nicole. So I can understand that as an introvert, he's like, well, damn, why is this camera in my face? What is going on? Right. So that's one thing. He's anxious, he's nervous. But then at the same time, like, I don't know what Chris looks like or sounds like when he speaks normal. So if this is what he sounds like in normal life, and if this is how he breathes, like obviously not to this extent, but if he's always kind of like breathing with his upper chest, you know, short, kind of shallow breaths, that's telling. That's telling.
And nothing has come up. Everybody has said like they haven't heard from her either. I'm just hoping right now that she's somewhere safe, and maybe she's there. But right now it's just like, if she's vanished, like I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
You know, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the hard part. Your first thought is
Okay. And then another thing that I want you guys to pay attention to as well is when he talks about not being in control of himself, not knowing what he's doing or what he's talking about, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Basically, he's saying that he wasn't himself. It was like someone was steering the wheel for him. And that means then that during this interview, he's probably also in that state of mind, right? Because this is a fight or flight response. Anytime that there's like adrenaline or whatever in our bodies, our brains process it as we need to prepare, something's happening. So right now he is completely in fight or flight mode. So yeah, that's just something to think about. So the state of mind, the frame of mind that he is in this video and in this interview is most likely very, very close to the state of mind that he was in just hours before this was filmed. So keep that in mind, because this is the closest that we're getting to him as he was at the time of whatever happened.
Where are they? I want them back. Your second thought is, you know, your friends are telling us that you kind of hurt.
Look at his chest.
You're also, your second thought is that you're afraid people think you may have done something.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion on anything like this. I just want people to know that I want my family back. Like, I want them safe, and I want them here. Like, this house is not the same. I mean, last night was traumatic. Last night was, I can't really stay in this house again, like, with nobody here.
Last night was traumatic. So he's saying that last night was traumatic because nobody was there. And last night being the night he was on the phone with Empeñada until like 3 a.m, that he was washing, quote unquote, smelly sheets and all that stuff. So that was traumatic for him. But I don't know that I would necessarily describe that as being traumatic for him. I think the word trauma is typically not used in this kind of context, especially if you don't know, like, the fate of apparently, allegedly don't know the fate of your family. So for you to say, oh, last night was traumatic for me being here alone, is not normal. So I think that when he uses the word traumatic, he is saying, like, something traumatic happened in this house, and this house is never going to be the same again. It's like a bad, not omen, but it's just cursed. I told you from the very first episode, this house is cursed. But yeah, he's definitely freaking out. He's freaking out. He's freaking out. And I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's dissociated, because for, like, traumatic dissociation to happen or traumatic amnesia to happen or anything like that, that is very, very rare. And it honestly, there's no, yeah, I wouldn't say that he's dissociated at this point, like, at least not in the clinical sense. In, like, a colloquial sense, sure, yeah, like, he's dissociated. He has to be, because he's trying to act normal and under the circumstances. But yeah, he's definitely freaking out.
And last night, I wanted that knock on the door. I wanted to see this kid just run in, just barrel rush me and just give me a hug and knock me on the ground. But that didn't happen.
Who are you going to stay with tonight?
Probably my friends Nick and Amanda. If something develops in the next hours or so, like, I'm hoping that somebody sees something or somebody knows something and comes forward.
What's the hardest part of all of this for you?
Not knowing, like, if they're safe or if they're in trouble.
See, the way that he said not knowing without hesitation, that was sincere. I don't know. Look at his face right here. He certainly looks like empanada face, but yeah, listen to this again. Oh, shoot. Damn it. That didn't work.
How would she have left the house if she did leave the house locked?
Front door.
The weird part of all this, it sounds like everything's kind of locked up. There's no
I don't know.
Them leaving the house.
No, like, we have camera there. Neighbor has a camera. Everything's checked out.
You have a camera in there?
The doorbell, only right there. The neighbor has one over there.
Were all the doors around the house locked?
Front door was locked. The garage door was unlocked, but that's normal for, like, when she comes in the house, she leaves it unlocked just so she can come in and out, just in case, did get in the garage door, but the back sliding door was locked as well.
What did he just say here?
So how would she have left the house if she did leave the house?
I don't want to put anything out there, like, just suspecting, like, if something, like, somebody pulled in the back, and because we have a driveway back there from the new townhomes, but it's so hard to tell. Like, there's no cameras in the back.
Also, I want you guys to remember this scene, basically, for when next time you look at the footage of him backing up the truck, and we wonder, how can he get so far into the garage, because Shanann's car was, like, right here. That's because he backed up here, in my opinion. And I think he backed up, which you see, like, this part of however much of wall that is, that's what's covering that part of his truck. So it looks like he's pulled in further than what he is. And then if you look at other body cam footage of the officers inside of the garage, right in front of this door right here, he has a bunch of different, like, I don't know what they're called, but like little toy cars and like the lawnmower and all kinds of equipment like that lined up, like one next to the other, one next to the other. And it was just random because this whole side was clean. And then you just had a row of stuff here. So I think what it made me think of is that it was probably set up like that in order for him to block the girls possibly from running out or whatever while he was doing whatever he needed to be doing. So I don't know.
In the backyard or anything like that. So it's really hard to even suspect anything right now as far as how she could have left, or if someone came picked her up, or if someone took her.
Meanwhile, today's reality, you've got cops there, cops here, cops in your house, K9 units.
I've never seen something like this in my lifetime unless it was on TV or a movie, and this doesn't seem real at all.
Isn't it funny when you actually hear him speak? Remember, we talked a lot about his writing style and how he's just so concrete and literal that if you read anything written by him, you can kind of tell basically what he's responding to, or what the last thing was that someone said to him or something like that. Because he literally he's a master of repeating basically what you're saying without really being clear, without ever getting a clear answer, I should say. So here he's saying, I've never seen something like this in my life, and unless it was in a movie, and just stuff like that. So for him to say, like, unless it was on a TV show or a movie, just adding like that, or a movie, that's part of like that concrete thinking, where it's like, if you said, I've never seen anything like this unless it was on TV, like, that's it. But for some reason, like, Chris needs to break it down even further. And he's saying, like, unless it was on a TV show or a movie, and then he's like listing things when he already made his point. And it might not be significant, and I'm not reading too much into it, but I'm just talking out or thinking out loud as I'm like analyzing his body language, his language, and just in general, his thought process. So in order to better understand how someone thinks and why people do the things they do, this is why it's so important to look at the nonverbals, because if I'm only paying attention to what he's saying, and obviously his body language does not match what he's trying to communicate, so you kind of have to look between the lines. You have to look at the nonverbals, because 80% of what we're communicating is nonverbal. 80%. 80.
It just seems like I'm living in a nightmare, and I can't get out of it. I just want them home so bad.
Did you see your kids and your wife whenever, or you had the kids? I forgot.
Yeah, I had the kids over the weekend.
Did you see your wife when she got home?
She got home really late, about 2 a.m. from the airport when she got back from Arizona.
Did you wake up and say,
No, I saw her when she got in, but it was really quick just because it was 2 a.m. in the morning. But I saw the kids in the monitor before I left, and that was it.
What kind of efforts are happening right now, Chris, to find them?
Right now, in Frederick Police Department, they've been on point. With the officers, detectives, sergeants, K9 units here, they're getting sense. So hopefully they can pick up something and kind of go in a direction that will actually lead us to where maybe they're at right now.
And
Shanann went to. Where'd you get that shirt?
Oh, this is I think she got it off Amazon, but this is my favorite college sports team.
Wasn't she just there?
She was just in North Carolina. Yep. So she actually probably got it from there. Usually she gets stuff from Amazon, but this one, I like these shirts a lot.
What the? Oh my God. This kills me every single time when he's just so awkward. Like you can tell that he's totally just not comfortable whatsoever. He says, I like these shirts a lot, like with emphasis.
you guys, you love your kids. Describe your little girls to us, and you know.
So Celeste, she's just a ball of energy. Call her Rampage, because she's just always, she's got two speeds, go or she's sleeping. And she's always a troublemaker.
Megan, I think the reporter was trying to say, like, where was Shanann or wasn't she? And I think she was trying to ask about Shanann being in North Carolina. So I think rather than asking him outright, she's like, hey, where'd you get that shirt? Because it's a North Carolina shirt. So she was trying to get him, to say like, yeah, my wife got this for me. She was just there. But
Troublemaker, she's always the one like jumping off things, just yelling at you and all kinds of things. And Bella, she's the more calm, cautious, mothering type. And she's more like me. She's more calm. Celeste is definitely.
what was that? Like he almost lost his breath.
Has definitely got her mom's personality to where she's always just gung-ho, ready to go.
You guys have a baby on the way.
Mm-hmm.
How you about that for a child?
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of going through your mind right now?
Do you hear the sighs? Sorry to keep stopping it, but please.
About that for a child.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of going through your mind right now too?
That's why I want everybody back.
Like he took like a audible sigh twice in a row after each question.
Everybody back. That's why I need everybody back here. I need everybody safe.
I think I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, so. And then this is Hobag's phone. I'm so mean. I'm sorry. Empanada, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But you are. All right. So here are her Google searches. She's on Facebook. So this is a Facebook post, right? But she says she doesn't have Facebook. And I know that you can see certain things on Facebook, but typically, I don't know, like it's asking you constantly to like sign in and stuff. So I think she's lying about the Facebook account. Like she definitely has some sort of incognito account. So, okay, so while Chris is having his interviews, he's being a superstar. She's at home Googling Shanann and calling, leave Jim alone. And then at 6:13, Chris is signing up for some sort of fantasy football thing. And then Miss Hobag starts Googling how to get rid of evidence. God. Just look at this. And I wanted to make sure that she did not do these searches after she talked with police. Because if it was after her interview at the park, then you could say, oh, I was Googling that because I was trying to see, because, she's the lead investigator in the case. So she could use the excuse of like, I was trying to see how to get them back for the officers. But remember, she said that this is August 14th. This is Tuesday. And she said that this is the day that she got scared and started thinking that something is wrong, and that she kept calling him back repeatedly. But yeah, that's also the day that she says that she deleted her phone. And that's when she, quote unquote, found out that Shanann is pregnant because she read the news. First of all, I did the whole hand and head motion to go along with the first of all. For someone who doesn't spend a lot of time on Google, on Facebook, for someone who doesn't have a Facebook profile, you sure get a lot of screen time on Facebook there, because you're Googling people since I lost something. Sorry. You're Googling people, stalking people. You're going on 4-hour-long binges of, like, she Googled Chris's father. That's creepy. And then you're trying to tell me that you did not see all those posts about the baby. And then you're trying to tell me that you didn't see the video. And if you go back and watch my very first video on the timeline, when we went through the emails on their their very first correspondence, the day after Shanann posted the video on Facebook announcing her pregnancy to the world, she emails him and tells him, it's so awesome that you have this great family. I wish I could have that one day, but people have agendas and blah, blah, blah. Right? So don't forget that. The day after the pregnancy is announced, and now mind you, this is Anadarko. This is like, there's coworkers. Chris's best friend was Troy McCoy, and he saw Troy McCoy at work every single day. In the morning, in the office, when Hobag was there as well. And so you can't tell me that they didn't have any sort of conversation about that. Right? So when you go into work and you have nosy coworkers who keep up with Facebook and all that stuff, at least in my experience, whenever I would make an announcement of any sort, I typically get a couple of coworkers who comment about it. So she knew. It was probably like the talk of the cafeteria room, and she came in to put away her grass and, quote unquote, overheard the conversation. And what is she going on about here? Let me just, damn it. Okay. It just kind of sounded almost like a farewell, right? This is when she's talking about, deleting all that stuff. So it just kind of sounded almost like a farewell. And like, I didn't think it was too weird because I was like, I think he realizes that I'm up. I'm really upset that he lied to me. And I think he's aware of the fact that I'm probably about to walk away from him. So I think that was like his way of like saying goodbye. So it didn't really seem strange in the context of what was going on between like the him and I part of stuff. And then I kept asking him too, like, what did you do, Chris? What did you do? And he was like, I didn't do it. I didn't do nothing. And I'm like, where's your family? And like, I asked him that. I don't know if I started doing that on Tuesday or if I started that on Monday, but I definitely think it was Tuesday because I don't really think I was that alarmed on Monday. And then, so that was supposed to be like our final sign off text. What? You said, where's your family? And he said, I don't know. And that was your final. Okay. Then Jim got there at my house and I was hanging out with Jim. So remember, she doesn't know whether this was Monday or Tuesday, but she is pretty sure it's Tuesday. So now Jim is coming over and he's hanging out with her again. But I was still like in my head, just kind of like stressed out. And I remember I like walked to the room, went in my bedroom and texted Chris one more time. And I told him, I was like, if you did something bad, I was like, you're going to ruin your life. And I was like, and if you did something, wait, am I reading the same thing? No. And if you did something, I was like, you're going to ruin your life. She just repeated that. I was like, and I promise you that. Isn't she smart? And he responded back to me and he's like, I didn't hurt my family, Nikki. And that was like the last text. That was the last time we ever talked. And I never said another word to him after that. So after you're questioning him about the whereabouts of his family, and you're asking him whether or not he hurt his family, you decide to wipe your phone clean. And guess what? She said that his last text is, I didn't hurt my family, Nikki. Guess what, Nikki? If you didn't delete the shit, we would know that. But right now, we're stuck with your damn line-ass words. Yeah, Seth, Jimbo. Why does that always remind me of that Old MacDonald had a farm? Or no, wait, wrong song. How does it go? Old MacDonald had a dog, and Jimbo was his name. Oh. Yeah, his cheese must have fallen off his cracker long before. Yeah, it's my neighbors. So this is also when Chris is having his first interview with Coder while Nick and Amanda are waiting outside. And this is also, I think this is the night when they had him under surveillance. Yeah, by this time they had him, because remember Chris was in his car and they had called him to come to the station and the officer was following him and said that he had made like a U-turn and went to Frederick Police Department. Gimbo, no, not G, J. Jimbo. And Jimbo was his name. Oh. All right, so Wednesday. This is, I think, one of the last, obviously, days that I did. I didn't go all the way through. But now NK is freaking out. So here, the next morning, 8:15 at 8:07 a.m., I received information from CBI agent Stacy, I'm not even going to try her last name, that Chris Watts possibly had a girlfriend, Nikki Kessinger. This information was provided by Tony Husky. Husky forwarded an email communication between Kessinger and Watts that may be relevant. Stacy requested that I do a full workup on this individual. I completed searches in public and criminal justice databases to prepare a full and complete law enforcement support packet. The packet was forwarded to all relevant law enforcement personnel. So they immediately started investigating her. And I know they prepared this packet or whatever. They prepared it on her. They prepared it on Nicole Atkinson. Obviously on Chris. So they didn't prepare it for Nate. They didn't prepare it for Jeremy Lindstrom. He picks his dad up, goes to the police station, and here we go. 9:49 on that Wednesday is when she called the tip line. 2 hours after the email came through that she was having from Anadarko. And remember, in the handwritten notes, she took that day off. So she was off on this Wednesday. Yeah, you see. She called in sick today and last badged in yesterday at noon. Why did she badge in at noon? Well, she, quote unquote, was sick, right? And then basically her phone was taken over by calls from the CBI, her dad, her mom, JIMBO. August 16th, she has the interview with her dad. I have a special treat for you. August 17th is the autopsy. This is from the interview. So A is Hobag and A1 is her dad. So what am I supposed to do? Tell my boss. Well, what? No, but your boss isn't going to want rumor mongers. They're not going to want people stressing you out. They're not going to wait. They don't want erratic workflow. They don't want any of that. So they'll probably do a broadcast letter of anybody that was friends, acquaintances of it. They already did. They already dealt with all the stuff today. How does she know what they dealt with today if she called off? And he's like, or anything else, please respect that employee's feelings. And right there, oh, and by the way, if any of you have a problem, you can call Mickey Mouse and that's probably like, I was listening to the interview and I was like, did I just hear Mickey Mouse? Did someone just say Mickey mother effing mouse in the middle of a murder investigation? He said, you can just call Mickey Mouse. The 18th, she gets money for shoes from her mom. The 19th, 4 days after her world crumbled down around her, she's Googling Amber Fry, whatever. And I stopped there because the clock stopped, right? But on the 21st or the 21st, let me check. The 21st, she was fired from Anadarko. In other words, according to her, she says that her contract expired. Her contract expired, after 3 months, however long she was there, because that's normal. I don't know what industry you guys work at, but I would imagine that it takes a really long time to train someone, first of all, especially in that kind of industry. And then you tell me that you train them, you don't even finish training them in a 3-month period, and then just let them go because their contract is over. All right. So that's that for now. I already have my next topic. I'm lasered in on it. I hope I didn't rant and ramble on forever. I tend to do that, as you guys know. And I don't know, like, I'm way too detail oriented. So I go off on these tangents. And yeah, you guys just need to stop me next time. Yes, red like wine, that is me. So some major points, some takeaways. Number 1, we want to know all of those logs that are on the router that are showing up as being linked to like the security system in their house, the security panel, whatever. Thank you, red like wine. So that's one thing. I mean, there's a lot of things, obviously, but Darren, no, I don't. And I wouldn't feel comfortable even implicating him, to be honest. Like, we simply don't know anything other than a lying hoe bag planted him as her alibi. And we don't even know what this man sounds like. He was never interviewed. We don't even know what he looks like, technically. Like, we had to find out on our own. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that he was involved. The lag is ridiculous tonight. Like, I'm just seeing your guys' comments from like 3 years ago. So yeah, I did some personal research, let's say. And this woman is, I don't know, like I have 3 possibilities of where she could be at, but who knows? I agree, Miranda writes. I don't know if this comment is from like 10 years ago, but I agree that I think it's crazy that nobody has come forward. I don't think that's ever happened. Like, at least a nosy ass neighbor somewhere knows her and could have been like, hey, she's my neighbor and whatever. But let me see. What is Recliner saying? I didn't see. I only see Red Like Wine agreeing. So let's see, Megan. I'm going to use like a couple of minutes to just answer some questions and look at some other stuff that you guys have. So Megan J is saying that the dirt at the lab is different color. Let me see here. I'm looking at my full files or whatever, but I can't make out what's what. Okay. Oh, come on. I'm sorry. Now I'm trying to catch up with your comments. Oh, good night, Seth. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciated your comments, your humor. He's probably going to hear that in like 2037 by the time the lag catches up. So I hate looking at this, but it's like fascinating at the same time, because how, like, do you fit? I don't know. Do you see like the cone? We know the size of a regular like traffic cone, right? Just a standard traffic cone. And maybe it's the angle, but it's almost like if you just kicked the cone over into that hole. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how. I just don't know. And now another thing that we have to consider is also the time that he was out there and for how long he was alone. And we established that it was like about an hour long, about an hour that he was there by himself. And I don't know, like how, like I said, if you think about the cone just like tipping over, I mean, if it's that small of a hole, and I don't know if the ground is really sandy, but it looks really firm here and hard, because you can see there's like chunks of it, right? It's not just sandy. So I don't know. Yeah, recliner. I wrote that down actually. I think it's a 2 inches or something like that. There's varying accounts. It's like somewhere between like 2 to 3 inches that I think remember. But yeah, and then I listened again. I don't even know. I didn't listen, but I read again in Scribble's masterpiece how he described like what he had done. And he was saying that he was so angry that he didn't even care like how she landed, that he just like rolled her out of the sheet, and kind of like how she fell in is how he left her. He didn't even care to move her. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why do you roll her out of the sheet? And you, I don't know. And like the position that she was in, like a downward dog pose almost. I just cannot see it here. Like, I can't. And you can see footsteps here of the guys who did the recovery or whatever. And you can see, I don't like, even just relatively, like just with the naked eye, without having to be a forensic scientist, you can see like the size of this footprint, and let's see, looks like this is kind of like the clearest. I wish I could turn this though. I don't know how to turn this, but this is a footprint relative to this hole. Like, do you see? I don't know. There's two, Dana? Where's the second one? Are you saying these are two different holes? I think this is where they found the rake handle. You can see a cone there. Yeah, right? True crime, truth seeker. I would think so too. You don't just naturally roll out into a downward dog position. So if she was in a fetal kind of position for a longer period of time, then. But it's definitely another inconsistency. And I did a lot of research too on the injuries, because ironically, there was a trial going on at the same time where the victim was also manually strangled to death. And so when the pathologist and the medical examiners, when they were testifying, and talking about the autopsy and the injuries and everything like that, it literally helped me so much to better understand the injuries that Shanann obtained and that were noted by the medical examiner in terms of like what's normal, what isn't, what's consistent, what's not consistent. So one thing that stood out to me is there's kind of like a thyroid bone horn kind of thing that the medical examiner in her testimony specifically said that in manual strangulation, that bone always breaks. She says 99.9% of the time that bone breaks in manual strangulation. And I guess she was making the point that the victim in this case that they were trying, the mother was claiming that the kid hung themselves, and the medical examiner was testifying that it's not consistent with hanging. You know what I'm talking about? What case I'm talking about? Right. And she says that this child's bone was broken, and she said that that bone in children is particularly difficult to break, that it easily breaks with manual strangulation, and it always, with adults especially, is very, very common for it to break. So when it's strangulation, not with like hanging and other trauma, but Shanann's wasn't. It was intact. And the trauma, the injuries that are recorded during autopsy are literally just a couple of bruises. And the bruising is like on her face. So what it makes me think of is almost kind of like when you have someone in a chokehold, you know what I mean? It made me think about that. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, Megan, like I don't think he knew how to strangle someone without fracturing. Yeah, like this is what I'm picturing. And this is just from what I've seen, like the pattern of injury. It's almost like she was laying down on her side or whatever, and maybe he he pushed her on her stomach completely, sat on her back, and just kind of like grabbed her from behind. Right. I agree, Megan. Yeah. I think he grabbed her from behind, and that's why we're not seeing we're not seeing any defensive wounds. That's why we're seeing the makeup residue on the pillows. They said mark on side of neck and bruising on opposite. Yeah, they were, how do you call it? They're all bruises. So even so, if you imagine a chokehold, she had no exterior trauma. No, that's right. He said he did drag her. He said he dragged her out in the field as well. Yeah, because there's no way this woman did not fight back. No way. So whether it was like a chokehold kind of thing, or if he used his hands, I think that she was on her belly, like she was face down. Yeah, and then autopsy also said that there was no sign of any illnesses, no signs of any no surgical signs or anything, when we know that she had a freaking neck surgery. So that was weird. She had that scar on her neck too, where she had the surgery, and it just was like weird. Why isn't that on there? Because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that, because here's another thing that he says. He tells Scribble that he was so mad or whatever that he dragged her from the garage to his car and then lifted one part of her body up and then pushed her behind the seat, in the back seat of the truck. And then he got the garbage bags and covered her, which is bullshit, because we would have definitely seen him dragging anything out of that garage. It's like he doesn't even know how these people died. He is absolutely clueless. And it's not dissociative amnesia, and it's not traumatic amnesia, or, whatever the case may be. It's none of those things. Irene, if she was laying down on her stomach and if he sat on her back and put his legs on her arms, do you know what I mean? Like if he incapacitated her in that sense, like it might be possible that that's a good question, Mama. Where do you see it, Recliner? Where do you see him dragging? I don't see anything. Shall we pull it up? How long have you? Oh, shoot. 2.5 hours. Oh, good, Irene. Yeah, because I don't want to be like too graphic, but that's what I'm thinking. Because, yeah, if she's on her back, or God, on her stomach, then. Yeah, it's been that long. Okay, recliner. I'm about to. I wish I could share like my entire screen. Oh, I could. I can. Let me just. What am I looking for? Oh, yes. Oh my God. My goddamn memory. Seriously. Why is this not organized at all? Okay. Here's my entire screen. I have a pop-up chat here. Chat. So I'm trying to keep up. But this is the original footage from Discovery. And I already know them by heart. But I think the second one is when he backs in. I'm assuming you guys see this, right? Because I'm peeking in here, trying to see. Oh, good night, whoever is leaving. Stephanie? Oh, Stephanie, good night. Thank you so much. Thanks for keeping us company. God, I can't keep up with you guys. All right. What am I looking for? We're looking for him backing in. Oh, crap. This is... Oh, here's whoever. So this is the original, right? Straight from Nate's camera. So you see how far back he backs in? It's that little wall where he was standing during that interview. Oops. So he walks out. I know my chat is delayed, I'm telling you. I'm in like 1989. So by the time whatever is supposed to happen happens, I'll find out about it later. But these are all clips in like 3-minute increments. So when you guys say 1848, I don't know what that means. So there. All right, so he's backing in. There he goes out of the car. So, or truck, whatever. He's walking in the garage. And there he's coming back. And this is when he's supposedly dragging something. Because he goes in the truck. And he comes back out like a minute later. You're saying, Dave, you're saying that's when he dragged something? The first time he walked out? All right, so he parked. He's walking in. There he is. Here. Like, I don't see anything on the ground, though. I'm looking at the ground. Where am I supposed to be looking? Oh, really? Humanimal? Yes. Yes, Megan. Absolutely. It doesn't. And, you know, another thing that I think is super confusing is this freaking part right here, which is part of the tree. And when people like zoom in a lot, it almost becomes part of like, I don't know, it becomes difficult to tell what is a tree and what's a head, like a head passing by. So yeah, and you guys are saying that this is the very first trip he makes is right here. See what I mean with the tree? So right now, like his head is completely covered by the tree right now. I don't know. You guys are going to make me look at this over and over and over again. Yeah. Melanie, you know, now that I look at it with that in mind, I can almost see him like right here, like he's crouched down, like, you know, but I don't know if my mind's playing tricks on me. You know what, Megan? Check this out. I have something for you. Oh, Jesus. Am I going to figure out where it's at and all of this stuff? So this is the discovery, and I can't remember. Yeah, this is Troy McCoy's phone. Hold on. Boom. They were talking about this in February. Chris sent Troy a screenshot of the remote starter.
It's 319. No, sir, I don't. But if you guys need to, 19.
Like what is this? Is that a camera like on the back?
No, sir, I don't. But if you guys need to, as you get to
Like-
Hudson, so
Oh, I hate that I can't like get a clear pic. Here. What? Shh. Sorry. Tailgate handle camera system. And it's designed for newer models of Ford F-150 trucks. No, it's for his work truck.
or he went to this 319. That
Yes, Megan. Of course. So they include all the other screenshots in the actual photos here, because these are the photos of the screenshots that Troy McCoy and Chris had between them. But all the screenshots are there except that one with the key and the camera on the back of the truck. So you actually have to watch the video to catch that. Isn't that crazy? Hybrid, I honestly do not believe that Troy McCoy was involved at all.
can verify that. You can check his car site. It is. It's called a car site, or actually, it's called a geotab nowadays. Oh, okay. Anarco has a geotab, yeah, inside of all of our vehicles. Okay. So it tracks everywhere we go, how fast we're going, whether or not we're wearing a seatbelt, if we take a call over Bluetooth, everything. Okay. So. So is Ruggin about an hour from Frederick? Also, do you think?
See, this is when the Fire Stick shit was going down. See, Friday at 3:05, Chris is saying, I'm parked next to the orange 5.0, which I learned was a Mustang. And then at 4:22, Chris is saying, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. So I think that this was only about the Fire Stick with Troy McCoy. Like, I don't want to implicate anyone, but I'm wondering if Troy McCoy knew how to like jailbreak it so that Chris could watch TV for free. But like you see, they were done in like an hour and a half.
Well, it's you go right down 52.
This is Troy McCoy's cell phone.
From Frederick to Hudson, I don't know how long it would take, sir.
Notice how Chris is into memes.
So I imagine it'll probably be about an hour, maybe, to get to Hudson. And then I don't know, from Hudson to Rogan on the interstate going 75 miles an hour. You can usually make it to that Rogan exit probably 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay.
I'm guessing. And then it's a little bit of a trek back into Serbia because
Where is
Not sure, Megan. I don't know. Let's see. Is it this, Megan? This is Cody Roberts. Why did it only open the one? Let me see if this is what you're talking about, because the ones with Troy McCoy go all the way back. Oh, here they are. Yeah, no, these are all from, this is when he sent the thing. But Troy's go back. Let me see. I think. Yeah, this is Troy's. It goes back to 2017. Recliner, I think after Scribble, he's not writing anybody back. But yeah, let me send you this, Megan, right now. And then we'll wrap it up for the night. Because almost 3 hours, I think it's a new record. I would love to talk to Chris, Melanie. I would love to, because I don't think the people that he's chosen to speak with so far really knew like the right questions to ask him. And I've been studying this man for 18 months now. I'm pretty sure I can break him. You know what I mean? Not like break him, but if I approach him in a empeñado way. Well, wouldn't that be deceptive right from the jump? How am I supposed to build trust with someone if I lie from the get-go? Oh, the Fosters. You missed the entire 3-hour live. You made it to the end. Oh, thank you. We should start a petition. Maybe if I could leave him a creepy voicemail, it would work. Hi. This is definitely a big journey. This is part 2 of part 5. So technically this is part 6. All right. Let's see. Ah, damn it. Megan, it says attachment is too big. That's what Empeñada said. Thank you, Family Gal. I hope it's not boring you guys to tears. Okay, Megan, I'm going to send it to you through Gmail. And I think in Gmail, when the email is too large or attachment is too large, it automatically converts it into like a Google Doc thing. So I'll do it that way. The force of the empeñada. I'm telling you. I am telling you guys. That girl has game, but not really. Oh, Megan, check this out. I think like a month ago or so, I was reading all the court documents again, and I was trying to do it in order and trying to put it together into like a narrative. So I decided to do kind of like a timeline like this, but not as detailed, just kind of like some major points of the entire investigation from beginning to end, including the whole court process, the plea deal, everything. So if you're interested, we could like totally collaborate on that, because I know you've done a ton of that research, and maybe we could like do a live together, because you're like our Rourke expert. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but just my thoughts. Okay, I am just now getting your guys' messages in chat that you heard what the last thing that I said. Oh, awesome, Megan. Courage. Girl, please. You are a warrior. You got this. All right, I'm putting my email in chat, because this is super slow right now, and I think there's going to be even more awkward silences if I'm trying to like catch up with chat. and wait for you guys to hear my response and all that stuff. So it's taking forever. I think I'm going to be experimenting with another like streaming service called OBS. I've tried it before, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out, but well, Megan, I can do the talking, but I don't want to get it wrong either. So we can definitely figure it out because yeah, you're brilliant. She's brilliant. Yes, so I will be signing off right now. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. No, Megan, haven't done it live on my phone. But yeah, so thanks for listening and thanks for putting up with me and for your comments. I will see you soon. I'm already, like I said, I have 3 other actually projects that I want to get started on, but I don't want to do this PowerPoint stuff because then it feels like I'm doing homework. So I'm going to try to figure out like a more fun and interactive way to do this. So yeah. So look out for that. We're going to be looking into the entire investigation, how it was handled, and then I'm going to do my other project, which is called the Circumstantial. Can you guess what that's about? And then finally, one of my patrons suggested a case to cover, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. I won't say what case just yet, but I'm going to talk to a couple of people and get people's opinions. But I think it would be very interesting. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, good night, and I will see you soon. I hope you have a great week and stay safe and stay healthy. Good night.